y'all. Good afternoon. Get ready with me as I talk about how I ended up in children's hospital for an entire summer when I was 5 years old. Now, a lot of people may say, well, what does that have to do with the price of rice and what's going on right now? Everything. Direct relation. So, my mother passed away when I was 4 years old. So that was about January of '86. She passed away. Shortly thereafter, I became really sick. My dad was in charge of everything at that point. My parents are married, but my dad was in charge of everything as far as I was concerned after that, of course, because, And my mom was more so of my mom was like a huge health nut, My mom didn't feed us a bunch of crap and garbage. We didn't go to McDonald's like that. That was not her thing. She was not one of those parents, like, you ate cooked food. That's what you're going to eat. My mom was the kind of mom where she would serve you celery with peanut butter and raisins on it, answer the log. Or she would give you peanuts and raisins as a snack. That's the kind of mom she was. She was very health conscious. She didn't like people. She didn't like nobody being fat. But she lost on this side. But she was fighting for her life when it came to her daughter and all that. But anyway, shortly thereafter, my mom passed away. I got sick. My father, and this is no blame to my dad. I love my dad. I adore my dad. He's sleeping now. He left about 10 years ago. He departed. But I love my dad. This is no way to bash my father. I'm just telling the truth. But my dad, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. He was grieving. He was going through a lot. And he had a 4-year-old child that he was now solely responsible for. And he really didn't know what to do. So he fed me a lot of garbage that I shouldn't have been eating. Lots of McDonald's. I remember one morning, we would go to 7-Eleven and, if you wanted a glazed donut or two, get your glazed donut. He was like, okay. I remember one morning I walked out of the 7-Eleven with a king size Reese and a Pepsi. When I tell y'all, my mother was probably screaming and cussing from the other side. She was screaming and cussing from the other side because she would have never, I didn't even know what that was until after she died. A lot of that stuff, Happy Meals, I didn't know what any of that was until after my mom was gone. Because we ate cooked food, So with that, I started getting real sick. Now, I didn't make the correlation. This correlation was not made back then. This is just something I've been thinking and researching since I became sick this time. So, and there's a piece of information that stuck with me that I retained, that I never forgot about, and it became really relevant in this episode of illness. I ended up in children's hospital. I became really swollen. Okay, I retained water. I was not urinating. I was extremely swollen. And I ended up in the children's hospital for an entire summer. But what I vividly remember was going to the follow-up appointment. And this was me, my father. We went to the follow-up appointment. And the doctor specifically asking me, what have you been eating? I didn't know that this was even going to be, I didn't even know it was a matter of importance. You just asking what I've been eating. And so I basically told him what I've been eating. And I just vividly remember him saying, you're not supposed to have cheese. Now, I didn't know why I wasn't supposed to have cheese, but he said, you're not supposed to have cheese. So that carried with me. Now, my father, I don't think translated that information to my grandmother, which was his mother, who took over after my mom died and after I came out from the hospital, I don't think he, told them the full story as to what happened. Now don't get me wrong, my dad's side does not consume a lot of milk. So growing up, I didn't eat a lot of milk. I didn't drink a lot of milk. We had cereal sometimes, but it was not a house where it was like buttermilk. We just didn't eat a lot of milk. So I had moments where I would get sick. I would have moments where I would get sick, and it would last like 24 hours. I would wake up, there'll be sweating. I was really lethargic. My head would feel like a cinder block. I would feel really weak. And I would just lay in bed all day. And then by the next day, I would start to feel better. So clearly, thinking back on it, it was something that I ate that did not agree with me. And this has always been the situation. When I got old, when I started to have this episode, let me roll back. When I became grown and I was on my own and making my own dietary decisions, I was out eating everything under the sun that I wasn't used to eating. We're talking about going out all the time. When you're living a life where you work a lot and now you're grown, so you're just eating. You're eating at Olive Garden, you're eating at Red Lobster, you're eating at all these different places, that you weren't eating at beforehand. So now these places are becoming a part of your diet. And I really wasn't noticing the difference as far as the bloating, the diet, the bowel movements, the swelling, but it was all directly related to dairy. Clearly, I was not supposed to have dairy. Ever. And at first, when I started to think about it and I started to research, I didn't really know if it was dairy or if it was soy, because cheese has both. Especially American cheese. American cheese has soy and dairy. So I had to try to figure out which one of these was causing my problems once I got really sick. Once I started to figure out and journal my food choices, I was able to narrow it down. And it was both of them. I can't eat either one. They both will stop my kidney function. If I make a mistake and eat something, I won't urinate as much over the next days, and the water just sits on me. Ankles, tissues, it just sits until it gets out of my system. And then I'll start urinating a lot to get it out. But just imagine if you're constantly eating something that you're not supposed to eat and it has that effect on you, you're not really paying attention. You're just swelling and swelling and swelling. And me personally, I just felt like maybe it was just the fat in the food and it was just me getting fatter. I was like, oh, I need to lose weight. Oh, I need to stop eating this or that. I need to get on a diet. When it was a little bit more scientific and deeper than that. So, and it also messes with my breathing. So, I had to definitely stop eating the dairy, stop eating the soy. But had my father continued to take me to my follow-up visits, let me just say this, if my mom was alive, and my mother would have got to the bottom of it. And handled it, and we probably would not even be going through this right now. Once again, this is not to bash my dad. He was going through a lot. And he was lost. He was just, my man was, he was lost. So, yeah, my mom had lived, my mother would have gotten to the bottom of it. And like I said, we probably wouldn't even be on oxygen right now because we would not have been eating cheese or soy, dairy, whatever, for years. It would have never been a part of my diet. Ever. But yeah, I was in the hospital for I don't know if it was 2 or 3 months as a 5-year-old. And recently I was doing more research, and this is just further confirms. I was doing some research and I came across a medical study where a little girl she was having the same situation where she had a dairy allergy, and it was hindering, it was messing with her, it was, you know, making her kidneys malfunction. They call it interstitial necrosis. And the study found that, you know, when you have a dairy allergy that's severe, it will hinder the kidneys. It can damage your kidneys, actually. And which it did do to mine. It did damage my kidneys. It can damage your kidneys. Okay. But it can also make you hypersensitive to other allergens if you continue to consume the dairy, or even once it's, you know, even if you have the dairy allergy. And his treatment recommendation for her was for her to also take allergy medicine. I take Allegra. I have to take 2 pumps of Flonase in each nostril twice a day, or I can't breathe. Now that's in addition to being on oxygen. So mine is just a little, because I wanted to get to the bottom of why all this occurred. When you ask doctors, they're like, we don't know, it just happens. When you ask them what idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis is, they can't tell you. They just says, well, it just happens. We don't know the cause, because probably everybody's cause is different. But for me, I believe it's directly related to the allergy. So the little girl, she was placed on, she can't eat anything with dairy. Same thing with me, I can't eat anything with dairy. Not even a cracker. Bread, cracker, I don't care if it's baked into it. I've tried it all, and it all still gives me a side effect. The other thing was soda soy. But I have to take allergy medicine. Like it made me allergic to like dust. So I'm getting better though, because when I first was with this particular episode, I had to change my home air conditioner filters at least once every month. No, most people don't change them for like 3 to 6 months. I had to change them every single month. If those filters were to get dirty, I can't breathe, or I couldn't breathe, because I was that sensitive to dust. I'm getting better though. I'm not as sensitive. So me not eating the dairy over time is actually working and building my body back up. I also have air purifiers around my home, and those, once again, the filters, they had to be like every 2 or 3 months, and if not, they would cause me problems and I wouldn't be able to breathe. So, but I've constantly researched just to see, but it was all directly related. So milk and soy, you know, I've improved drastically. Just pay attention to your body. Sometimes it is the food. Get tested for food allergies. Another one that I'm allergic to, I cannot have oat milk. I can't have no oats. I cannot do oats at all. Almonds, I can't do any almonds. I've been around here literally fiending for ice cream. I can't do ice cream. Ice cream was one of my favorite foods. Cannot do ice cream. I can have like water ice, or I know like Talenti makes a non-dairy chocolate sorbetto that's like chocolate and ones in coffee. I could do those. But actual like ice cream, and I love eating on ice cream. That was a hard adjustment to cut out dairy. It was not easy, but I like being able to breathe. I like not being tired. I like being able to get up in the morning, take a shower, put my clothes on, and go on about my day. Do what I need to do in the house, and go run my errands, and do whatever else I need to do. But all right, I'm going to talk to y'all later. I'm going to go y'all back. I don't want nothing. I don't want to do too much. When I tell you that Fenty under eye brightener just chef's kiss. Good enough. Now you just need a little oomph to your day. Not major, just a little bit. This was that is it for today. Oh, shucks. God that nabbit. Gotta put on a thicker lip product because the cold air has changed. The chair air has changed. It is very dry. And it's kicking my tail. I had to put on shea butter today because, whoa. And this is her, voila.